Hi, this is the video for Daf Shevui, Masechet Ketubot Daf Bet. Welcome to Daf Shevui if you're new with us. We have had a very large increase in our subscription. We've begun a new Masechet. I am very excited to learn Masechet Ketubot with you. It's going to take us a couple of years to get through Masechet Ketubot, so I hope you're in it with us for the long term. I wanted to talk a little bit about the first Mishnah of Masechet Ketubot, which is about the day and the week that a virgin and a woman getting married for the second time, an almana, a widow, or also a divorcee, what day do they get married? Now, I want to say here right away that there probably are a lot of different reasons. We're going to see a lot of different potential reasons for why a woman would get married on a specific day. I want to focus here more not on what was the original reason for the woman getting married that day, but rather, why did the rabbis explain it in the way they did in the Mishnah? And as a reminder, the Mishnah says that a virgin is married on Wednesday, so that if the husband has a virginity claim, he can get to the court early. The idea there is we don't want him to get married on Tuesday because you have to wait till Thursday, or for instance, get married on Friday, you'd have to wait till Monday. We want him to get married the day before, so that he can get to the court the next day. And the question comes up, and it's going to come up in the Gemara as well. So what? So what if he has to wait 2 days? Well, that's the big deal. What bad thing can happen if he waits 2 days to get to the court, or 3 days? And I want to explain here what I believe to be the pshat, the original meaning of this Mishnah. I actually wrote a paper about this quite a while back, and it's a meaning that's a little bit different than the meaning we're going to see eventually in the Talmud. I believe the original meaning is connected to the story we hear about in Deuteronomy 22, where we read about the husband who made a false claim against his wife, saying that she was not a virgin. And it's very easy to understand the motivation for a husband who wants to lie about his wife. The husband contracted a wedding agreement with her father, assumedly, as was typically done back then. And he contracted to marry this woman. He marries her, and he decides, he doesn't really know her that well before, after having relations on the first night, being together for a day, he decides this is not the relationship that he wants to have. I could impart to him a more nefarious kind of a scheme, that he actually contracted lechatchila from the outset a marriage contract with the father, knowing he was going to claim it was false. But whether he was that much of a scheming husband or a little bit less so, in any case, if he divorces her after having married her, he's going to have to pay the marriage contract, which could be a substantial amount of money. This is the money that we learn about in the Ketubah. So what does he do? He comes to the court and says, look, I contracted to marry a virgin, and she wasn't a virgin, and therefore I don't want to pay the wedding settlement. The Torah assumes that he is lying, and he gets lashed and punished. And only at the very end of this law in the Torah do we learn what would happen if he was telling the truth. Now, I believe the same thing is there in the Mishnah. The Mishnah suspects that a husband may be lying. Why then do we need him to come immediately to the court the next day? First of all, there's an assumption that if he is really genuinely angry with her, why should he wait longer on? We'd have no reason to assume a person wouldn't have a legitimate claim and wait to come to the court. But even more importantly, the physical evidence, the longer we go from the physical evidence, the sheet, as we'll talk about later in the Gemara, or whatever physical evidence there may be, the longer we go away from the original marriage, the more we suspect that he may be faking it, that he may invent or cause the loss of the physical evidence, and therefore he has to come immediately after the first night of marriage and bring the case to the court. Any longer, and we suspect that he is lying about her, let's say he comes 3 days later, a month later, maybe even longer. Why would a husband wait that long? 7 days, 10 days. Why would a husband wait that long to make a virginity claim? The suspicion is that as time goes on, he decides this is not the marriage that he wants to stay, the woman he wants to stay married to, and therefore he is using the virginity claim as a way of getting out of the financial commitment that he took upon himself when getting married. That, I believe, is the original pshat of the Mishnah. We will see other explanations as we continue on with this Talmud.